Hey guys, what's going on? My name's Eli. I'm with Fathom Realty, but I run Simplify at Fathom Realty, which is the Eli Skinner team. So I'm Eli. I've got a team of about 6 agents, a transaction coordinator. We've been running in real estate for since about 2010 as an investor, and then decided that I'd love to help other people win like I was winning. And so here we are. It's pretty exciting. We close about 100 transactions a year. So that says a couple things to you, honestly. It says, one, that we know what we're doing. We've experienced, I was about to say the word literally. We experienced nearly everything you could experience in Indiana real estate that's gone wrong. And that's gone right, of course, but that's gone wrong. And so you don't really hire us for when things go right. You hire us for when things go wrong. That's one thing to remember. And the other thing that high volume communicates to you is that not only we have to have a large team to support that, which means you've got more people than just one person kind of running around trying to do everything. You've got the people in the right seats to do what they're best at for you. But the other piece of it is that we're not starving. One of the things you'll realize in real estate real quick, if you jumped into the industry, for instance, is that the most agents are starving. They sell a house or two, maybe 4 a year. They make enough money to keep their license active, but not really to pay the bills. And so the problem comes is when we're in a tough situation and it's maybe not great for you as a client, but at the end of the day, that agent needs to sell a house or else they're gonna have trouble paying the bills or have some other situation go on in the life. And it just doesn't work well. You've got kind of conflicting interests here. They need to sell a house to be okay, and you need to not buy a house to be okay in that specific situation. And so with us, it's one of those things where if you don't buy the house that we're looking at that moment, it's totally fine. We've got plenty of others coming behind it and plenty of others coming next week and the week after and the week after that we love helping you and we enjoy it, but we don't have to have it to be okay, if that makes sense. And that's a real benefit to you because there's no pressure that way. There's no competition between me buying groceries and you buying a house. They can work together instead of, oh no, if they don't buy this one like today, my mortgage payment's gonna be late. It's not gonna work like that. So we've got a great team of people where everybody's in the right seats. We have seen all the problems, and that's again why you pick your agent is not because of when things go right, it's when things go wrong. And we've been through a lot of the wrong and we've made it out the other side and either fixed it, learned from it, or both. And then also that we're not starving. And that's really should be a good thing for you, I think, that you'll get to experience the stress-free, fun, this is an exciting thing and not a pressure thing. And you don't have to feel like you're wasting our time or anything like that. Like we've got the people in place to take care of you. So anyway, you got this. Go ahead and pull it out if you would. I'm actually going to use yours, so thank you. We're just going to pop this out. I'm just going to go through this real quick with you. First of all, you can see all of our content up here. This is our lender that we love to use. But it's all about simple, enjoyable real estate for us. In this case, home buying. Simple, enjoyable home buying. It's not a promise. It's an aspirational statement, if you will. It means this is where we're headed. We're trying to get here. We can't control the whole world around us, even though we'd like to sometimes. But the reality is we are aiming and we've set our systems up in place to try to make this as simple and enjoyable as it can be. And that's our goal. And so you've got my information right here. I've written that down because it's great that you've got our team leaders' information. It's all over the internet, but I want you to have direct access to me and know that I'm working hand in hand with our team leader, who's been one of the top agents in Indianapolis for years. And he runs one of the most, I would say, cutting edge, strategic, and exciting teams in Indianapolis. So you'll love kind of the what we bring to the table as far as some exciting things that really potentially separate you as a buyer. So I'm going to go through this real quick. This is not supposed to go in depth. We're not going to talk at length about really anything. If you've got some questions, we'll either answer them today or maybe we'll answer them another time. But I don't want to inundate your brain too much. I just want to make sure you know where we're headed and you understand where we're headed because this is your home purchase at the end of the day. I've got a teacher's heart. I really want people to kind of know what's going on. And hold on a second, the phone's ringing. This happens all the time. Hey. Sorry, it's crazy. It's absolute bonkers is why we have a team. Love it. Absolutely great. Anyway, kind of coming back to this. So simple, enjoyable home buying, just a couple of pretty pages here. But what I really want to jump to is, whoops, skipped one. Your greatest asset. I know this seems a little weird for me to say that it's me, but it's me. The greatest asset is your real estate agent. Your real estate agent should be here to lead and guide and teach and advise and obey, and protect. And I say obey because it's kind of a funny word. Obey is you say, Eli, I want to make this offer. And I say, that's a terrible idea. And then you say, it's okay, I want to make this offer. Guess what? We make that offer. Okay, so obey. We're going to guard. We're going to inform. We're going to work beside you. We're going to fight for you. We're going to celebrate with you. It's going to be great. But we're your best asset. So everything you can tell us, because we're going to keep your secrets. We're going to keep your money. We're going to keep your paperwork. It's going to be great. I'm your best asset. So lean on me. This is why at the end of the day, if we close on a house, I get paid. I don't get paid till then. I got to do my job really well first. As far as making it official, what does that look like? And you're going to see agents that do all kinds of weird stuff. But the reality is, at the end of the day, for us, it's all about a commitment between you and I. Because like I said just a second ago, I don't get paid unless we close on a house. So if you look at 20 houses with me and then go buy a house with your cousin, that's not cool. All we're doing here is this thing called a buyer's exclusive agency contract. What that normally would say is we're going to work together and then I'm going to get paid. But the reality is I've never had a need to really sign that document that locks you into me. Why? Because I don't work with turkeys that cheat on me. Like, it's just not a way I do business, not the way you're going to do business. I know that. So we're not really going to mess with that. But I did want you to know that at the end of the day, there is a contract that we can sign if it makes you more comfortable, that kind of locks us legally together as an agent and a client. It says I get paid. It talks about a little bit about like our responsibilities. But generally, I skip that one. But if we go to the written office policy, that's actually a state document. It doesn't even incline us to be locked into anything. All it does is explain what an agency relationship is, what my responsibilities by law are to guard your secrets. I'm never going to go, hey, well, you know what? She might pay a few $1,000s more, so just give me a counter offer. Like, we don't do that stuff. We keep your secrets. We track your paperwork. We explain things to you. These are literally in state law. And so we want to make sure that you understand what my responsibility is so you can hold me accountable. And at the end of the day, our relationship is going to be way more secure when we both fully grasp what my responsibilities are and what we're all expecting of each other. So anyway, one of the questions we get asked a lot is, well, how do you get paid? Because I'm not charging you guys anything to do this. Well, at the end of the day, the seller's agent, they actually pay us. I don't know what I'm getting paid. I'm not really worried about what I'm getting paid. One of my mentors, he doesn't know he's my mentor, but one of my mentors named Dave Ramsey, you've probably heard of him. He actually says something, and he may have stolen it from someone else, but that if you take care of enough people, the money takes care of itself. And I have never had to worry about money. Not like never had money problems in my life, but more like God's always provided, and I've always focused on people. And so I'm going to be focused on you, but that's how I get paid, is they pay me. It may be a bunch, it may be a little. I don't really know at this point, but unless they don't pay me, you don't have to worry about it. And if there ever comes a weird time when I'm not going to get paid at all, then you and I are going to work through figuring out how to negotiate that in, kind of like we would other things in the contract, so that you never have to pay me anything. Got it? That makes sense? All right, jump into this. This is the most important piece of the day right here, okay? We're going to spend a lot of time here and almost no time here, because until this rock has been jumped on, you cannot get to these rocks. If you do, you're going to slip on the moss, fall in the creek. Here's what I'm going to tell you, though. Item number 1 is called pre-approval. This means that you have figured out how you're going to pay for the house. It's a really good idea to figure that out before you go start trying to buy something, because if you don't have any money, or you can't get any money, then you cannot purchase a home. It's pretty simple. Now, I say cannot. We're not going to get into it. Theoretically, it's possible to buy a home with no money, but let's just say if you don't have some money in the bank and you don't have a pre-approval from a bank, you cannot buy a house. So pre-approval is where you're going to turn in your bank statements, your taxes, your pay stubs, your W-2s, and potentially other information that the lender's going to ask of you to make sure that you are qualified 100%, 99% qualified to buy a home, get a loan when we find the right one. If you show up without that to buy a house, they're going to completely ignore you, and for good reason, because you have no money. You can't buy houses without money. So pre-approval is a big deal. This is also going to set up our home search. How much are we able, what size of house should we be looking for price-wise? How much earnest money can we put down? I can't write an offer unless I know earnest money. Approximately how much your interest rates plan on being and how many years we're getting a loan for, how much your down payment's going to be. These are all things I've got to know before we write an offer. So until we get pre-approval done, there's really nothing we can do moving forward. Sure, you can go look at houses all day long, but you can't buy any of them. And how's it going to feel the first time you walk into a house that you absolutely love and you have delayed number one because you're so excited about number two? We walk in there with 3 other buyers because that's the market right now. You're sharing the house with other people because it's so busy. But you're gonna go into the house, you're gonna love it knowing those other 2 people have done their work on number one. They're pre-approved, ready to buy, and you have not. So you're gonna leave the house sad, trying to hurry up and get pre-approved for the next couple of days. They're gonna go home, write an offer, and get it. So we want to nail number one done. But anyway, just for the fun of it, number 2 step is the home search. We're going to look for the houses, basically price, location, beds, and baths. That's what we want to focus on. Right now, there's not enough houses in the market to worry about all the silly little details. I say silly details. It could be important details, but we're going to figure that out. But we're going to narrow it down your search. We're going to go look at homes. It's going to be wonderful. This is what everybody thinks of when they talk about buying a house. They think of the home search. But then you're going to be really glad you picked us as your brokerage, because when we go to write the offer, we are absolutely going to spend time talking about your world and making the best offer that we possibly can for you. Our goal is always that you go to bed at night knowing A, you did your best if they said no, and B, you didn't overcommit if they said yes. We don't want you to be sad on either one of those scenarios. So we're going to really focus on making the best offer for you, and that's going to take some effort and some real creativity sometimes. So you're going to be happy you jumped on board with us, and we're kind of running this race together. Third, once we get an accepted offer, we're going to do an inspection, which is your private inspection to determine if the house is in the condition you thought it was in. And number 5 is the appraisal. This is where the bank decides if they agree with the price that you and the seller picked. There's a lot to the appraisal. There's a lot to the inspection. There's a lot to the offer. There's a lot to the home search. We're not going to dive into that today, because at the end of this, you need to be laser focused on number 1. That is the only thing that we're going to leave this meeting and worry about, because until that's done, you cannot get to 2, 3, 4, and 5. And here's what's cool. This whole thing, this picture is an analogy. It's kind of an example of how this goes. The great news: if you try to jump from here to the home search, from the bank over here to the home search. Now, number 1, you skip number 1. You're going to leap over number 1 and land on this rock trying to cross this creek. You're going to fall. We've already talked about that. You're going to fall in the water. Great news, though. The water is 3 inches deep. You get wet. Nobody dies. Nobody goes to jail. Nobody loses all their money. You just made a mistake and a bad decision, and you're going to fall in the water. We're going to get up. We're going to go back where we should have gone, and we're going to do the pre-approval, okay? We've probably pretty much fixed that at this point, because you understand that pre-approval is the way to go. But let's just say one of these things, like for instance, inspection, that's a really slippery rock. You crossed the creek before, right? Some rocks are covered in moss. That one is wobbly and covered in moss, and it probably has blood from the last guy on it, okay? So this rock is super slippery, but guess what? You know it's slippery. We just said it was slippery. So you can prepare and tread very carefully as you cross that rock, okay? That's why this storyline works for buying a house, but it's very simple. There's just lots of details inside of each of these blocks, okay? But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, move into your house. Any questions? I know even the little bit was a lot to take in. We're gonna go through all this. But is there anything specific about the pre-approval that you need to know? Okay, cool. Well, I've got how to do this, and even if you've got a pre-approval, I've got a guy that I want you to at least consider. You've already got your documents out, so you might as well send them to another person just to have the conversation, because I know the experience is going to be good. I mean, it's going to be as good as getting a loan can be, kind of like as good as 1,000 paper cuts could possibly be, but it's going to be better than the other ones you're going to look at potentially. I want you to check that out, but I'm not really worried about who you go with. I just want you to have a good experience and get competitive numbers, and I can promise you with Austin at Fairway, you will. We have never not closed a house when we should have with him. I know that sounds weird way to say that, but the one we did lose a couple years ago was because the lady we were working with, our buyer, wouldn't turn in a document. She had some secret she didn't want somebody to see. She wouldn't turn in the document. So tough cookies, no house for you. All right, jumping over. So reducing emotional whiplash has been like a theme of my life. And part of that is just with knowledge. If you have not been armed with knowledge from a previous experience or previous agent, you're going to get whiplash if I don't teach you some things. So this is what this whole concept's about. This is all about reducing emotional whiplash. Looking at houses before you're pre-approved is a silly idea, and it's going to lead to your pain. So reducing emotional whiplash. Here's just 4 fun little steps and ways to do it. Navigate the stepping stones in order. I've beat that horse to death. Determine to remain calm and decisive. You're going to have to make decisions when you are not 100% convinced you know the right answer. That's okay. 90% has to be okay. You don't get 3 days to think about it when you're walking into homes these days. You get to walk in, make a decision, walk out and write an offer. Now it sounds crazy, but it's not as scary as you may think. I love a couple of these. The road of life is paved with squirrels who couldn't make a decision. Left, right, left, right, left, right, smash. Don't be that squirrel. Trust your agent. That's me. I know it's a little weird me telling you to trust me, but I want to say trust me. Trust the agent. Trust our experience. Trust the 125 deals a year. Trust whatever you want to talk about, but trust it, because we don't get paid unless you win. We don't win unless you win. So we're here to help make sure you win. The last thing we ever want is a phone call after closing that something went dramatically wrong that we could have all avoided. Okay. Internet jockey is one who incessantly consults the internet, blah, 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 blah. Don't be an internet jockey. I could take you to multiple websites right now. They're going to tell you wrong, if not illegal information, because they just don't fully get it. And they just started typing. Literally, they just started typing. They wrote a blog, they whatever. Don't listen to the internet and don't listen to your parents. They bought a house 30 years ago. It's a different market, different tools, different strategies. Listen to your parents. Okay, listen to your parents. I get it. Just be careful. Hold on, my phone's ringing again. Kai, come. Down. Hey. Sorry, I'm back. My phone stopped ringing. So the other thing though is we're going to talk about money moments, because I don't know where you're at in this process, but I want you to know one of the most important pieces to you is your money, right? And it only makes sense. But so many people go into this process not knowing when and where they spend money and how much. So we're going to talk earnest money. You can read all that when you get home, but basically it's you showing the seller that you are interested, you are committed, you are earnest in your purchase of the home, and you're not going to just change your mind. Okay, what happens to it's all in here, but it's good for you, it's good for them, and unless we're trying to pull one over on them, it's not a problem. That's appraisal. This is ordered by your lender. It's to make sure we all agree on the price, including the lender, to protect their investment in your home. They're not going to give you $300,000 to buy a house worth $100,000. That's called being upside down as an investor. They're not going to do that. They're going to check it. You're going to have to pay for that. The inspection, you're going to have to pay for the inspection. Go ahead and plan for it. Don't spend all your money at Showbiz. That's called Chuck E. Cheese now. Don't spend all your money at Chuck E. Cheese, because you're going to have to pay for an inspection. And depending on what kind of home you buy, if you buy a typical tract home in a neighborhood, it's going to be $300, $400, $500. If you buy a house on a basement built in 1822 with a well and a septic and a bunch of outbuildings and a pool, like, this could be $2,000. So depending on what we end up buying, you need to plan accordingly for inspection. I can help you with that once we know what we're looking for. And then closing. You've got not only bring your down payments, you got to bring other closing costs, lender fees, prepaid, interest, and prepaid taxes, and you got to pay for your homeowner's insurance, all kinds of crazy stuff. There's a lot to it, but normally we plan for $4,000 or $5,000. However, if you want to know how much you're bringing to closing, you need to talk to your lender once we go under contract on a home, and we can ballpark until then. But literally every day it will change. If we're supposed to close on the 29th and we close on the 30th, it's going to be different. So it changes all the time. Your lender controls like 90% of the costs associated with closing. So those are 4 things. I know I'm going quick, but I just want to get this into your hands. You can read it. We can talk more. I just want to get a general idea. So talking about money, this is the lender I was talking about, Austin Smith. He's got an entire team, kind of like me, or kind of like my teammate, our team lead. We've got an entire team of people that can help, but they are great. I've worked with them for 12 years. We just don't have issues. And that's my primary concern, that when you've got the home of your dreams in sights, we've accepted an offer, the last thing we need is for your lender to be subpar, and they're the ones that mess it up for you. It happens all the time. Not to us, because most of our buyers end up using Fairway. But if you don't, I'm cool with that, okay? I just want you to have a great experience, and I can't promise the experience you're gonna have with other lenders. And I know that they're gonna do their due diligence, put their money and their time into you, and they're not gonna send you shopping until they are confident that you can buy a house. The only way you wouldn't be able to buy a house, in my opinion, and in my experience, is if you lied to them, if you hid something, okay? So as long as you're fully upfront about everything, we're gonna be in great shape if they're in charge. So you get a little coupon here if you wanna use it. Make sure you let them know right off the bat so that you don't get disappointed later when they've already charged you everything and there's nothing else to give. Finally, get to the back page, just a little blank space to write some questions or whatever, but these are just a few questions you might ask yourself. It's gonna help the lender, because when we go to get pre-approved, which is the whole point of what I want you to take away from this meeting, when we go to get pre-approved, they're gonna want to know, and I'm gonna want to know, what's your absolute top number and what is your budget number. I want to know if you want to spend $1,500 a month or less on a house. I want to know how much house we can buy for $1,500 a month. Your lender will be able to give us the best guess. Me and you can guess, I can do some work, whatever. The lender is gonna know how much your interest rate is, how many years you're doing on your loan, what type of loan you're doing. I mean, there's a lot of variables. So your lender is gonna be able to give you the budget number for a house price and what your max is. They may give you a max of 400 grand. You don't wanna spend that. You wanna spend 1,500 a month. Well, that might be 200,000. Okay, great. We know that we're aiming at 200, but we can fudge a little because your max is 400, right? If you need to go 205 or 210, you can. That's what the point is of the two numbers. Anyway, I know that's a lot of information, and I went really, really fast, but that was my goal. I want to get us moving in the right direction. You know your homework, right? Homework is flipping back here. Number 1, that's why we started with a 1, right? That's the one you're gonna go home and do. I've got a link I'm gonna share with you straight from my phone. Let me pull it out right now. All right, so I'm gonna just send this. Do you want it in your email? Would you rather do like an application for a loan with typing and stuff on your phone or your email? Email? Okay, cool. Boom, there it is. Sent, should be in your email now. You can click that. It links me and you and your lender. I can't really see anything. But I can see that you started it. I can see when you upload documents. Can't see the documents, but I can see that you did upload it. What that does is that helps me and the lender be able to communicate like, hey, they're moving right along. Great. Anything else they need? You need me to help get something from Sally? No. Okay, perfect. Anyway, that link's a great way to do it. But honestly, you get that done as soon as we get to the end of that, which is honestly as fast as you work. They will get you pre-approved unless there's something real funky in your world. They'll generally get you pre-approved 24 hours after 24 business hours. So on a Friday, it might be Monday, but after you give them the last document they ask for. Not the last document they ask for the first time, because every time you turn in a document, there's a chance that document shows that they need another document. So they're gonna ask you for a set of documents. You're gonna send them. They're gonna ask you for a smaller set of documents. You're gonna send them. They're gonna ask you for one more document. You're gonna send it. When that document's done, then 24 hours or so later, they're going to give you the nod, tell you all the details I've just asked for, especially if you've said, I want these two numbers. And then you're going to communicate to me, they're going to communicate to me. We're going to set your search up knowing the numbers we've got and the location you want, the beds and baths that you want, whatever else. And this is going to be a party from that point on. So, any questions? I know, it's done. Anyway, no big deal. It was great to sit down and chat with you guys. I know you probably got to run. I know I need to get to an appointment well, I'm okay, but whatever. I do have to go though at some point. So, yeah, great. And at this point, they're going to ask you questions. You're going to do some little things, or they're going to get up and go, and it's going to be great. Either way, you gold. Congratulations. Good buyer presentation.